Hello Mountain, I'm Nadia Haritron.
Hey everybody, my name is Tyler.
We're so excited to be with you tonight.
Welcome back to our series Moods. Last time Greg brought us some truth about not letting our emotions control us, and this time we'll be talking about anger.
You know what really makes me angry?
What?
When there isn't enough room on the sidewalk for all of your friends to walk together.
I hate when that happens because there's always one person that's just like left behind, and it's so sad.
And it's me.
Oh God, I feel so bad for you. Anyway, Chihuahuas make me angry. Those little rat dogs just like get my blood boiling.
I agree, they're like little demons.
Can't talk about it. I get too worked up. I just need to calm down.
I know what'll calm you down.
What?
Our Abingdon student pastor, Chase Boyer.
Dude, Chihuahuas,
Hi.
totally puntable. Just saying.
Yeah, why would God make them like football size if it was not supposed to punt them?
Put them on a tee and just do the uprights.
Hey Chase.
Hey,
Up dog.
what's up, dog?
Not much. How are you?
Enough. We have things to do. All right?
Yeah, we have a showdown between us.
What?
If it's
Really?
a showdown, then I'm gonna win.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
No,
I
I
think
have
we're
come
gonna
ready to win
I
whatever
don't
we're
think
going to
so.
do.
I don't think, I talked to God, and actually we're supposed to win.
Got on the phone.
Who's winning?
It's Tyler.
I've
No, I think he miscommunicated.
I had a direct line with him earlier, so
No, right now, it's updated.
I'm praying always, and
we-
he's telling me
I'm
right
literally
now.
praying right
we
now, and
communed
he's-
earlier over the body and blood of Jesus. And
Well, actually,
I just did that like.
how about Nadia just tells us what we're doing?
Yep. Sorry.
well, the goal of the game is simple. We're going to show a string of emojis that represents a famous phrase, and whoever guesses the phrase correctly wins a point.
That seems simple enough.
Let's do it.
All right,
Okay.
let's play the game. Is it on this lovely iPad here?
Yes, it is.
Well, you gotta let me see it too. So
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry.
All right.
Okay.
So give us the first one.
This one. So, this is our first one.
I feel like
Lips smacking.
Is-
that was...
My lips are moving.
You do see that there are like
My
spaces
lips
for
are
words.
Oh,
No.
there are spaces for
Yes. So
Okay, got it. Okay, so it's
Um,
waving high lip smack.
Goodbye kiss.
Oh, goodbye kiss. That's totally what it is.
let's see.
Let's- Oh my gosh!
Not you being good at the game.
Winner!
All right.
Okay.
We'll give her that one.
Yeah.
We'll give her that one. Yeah, we'll give
Next.
her that one.
Ooh.
Come on the
Popcorn.
top. Bang corn.
Wait, what is
Popcorn.
actually
Popcorn.
I got that
It's
right
pop-
though. I said it
Is
first.
it popcorn?
I said it first.
You said popcorn?
I
don't-
said popcorn.
I
did
did
say
hear Nadia
popcorn.
say popcorn.
I did, and I won.
I think a close second is boom corn. I don't know what that means.
What?
Thing is,
There's
that
no
would be
one-
correct
there's
if
no
the
room
first
for-
word had 4 spaces. Ooh, girl book, girl read, girl nerd, girl
Notebook.
support women in STEM.
Notebook.
Support women in
Support
STEM.
women in STEM.
Nerd read.
Not all women are
Nerd
nerds.
Nerd book.
Nerd book.
Nerd book.
Girl book.
Facebook.
You're so
The
correct.
old person would get that.
Because-
Yup. Sunlight.
Photosynthesis.
Photos.
Yeah.
Algae.
I say sunlight.
Chloroplast.
I think it's sunlight.
I think it's sunlight. Yeah,
Yup.
it's sunlight.
Happy feet. Okay, you
Happy
won that.
feet?
You got
Yup.
that one. I do
Like
have to
the
say that you
movie?
got that.
You
Yes.
with the penguin?
It's not a famous phrase.
It's the famous movie.
It's the feet that are happy.
iMusic. It's one word.
Apple Music. Nope. No.
Music. Looking music. I music. The one word.
iTunes.
What?
iTunes. iTunes.
That was really good.
I feel so
I
sad.
don't know.
was
Something
really
just
good.
clicked.
Nadia, you are the winner
Thank you.
of this game.
Thank you.
Wow, I really did worse than I thought.
Cheer up. It's gonna be okay. Chase, let's go ahead and get you to share some truth with us.
Please, I'm so excited to be with you guys today. Hey everybody, my name's Chase. So glad you're joining us. Listen, I have a question for you. Have you ever heard of road rage? Now, I'm sure you've heard of road rage, obviously. Dumb question. If you have a license, you've probably experienced it for yourself. You're probably in the car and someone who has raged with you while you're driving, or maybe someone's come alongside you and giving you a nice friendly gesture on the road. People are just so nice sometimes. Or maybe, have you ever had any rage towards a game you're playing and so you just rage quit? I love watching those videos of people rage quitting. Listen, I have been stuck for almost a month on win number 49 in Call of Duty Warzone. I cannot get win 50. I have rage quit so many times in the past 4 weeks. It's been insane. Every L gets me fuming. I need to buy this win somehow. I just need to buy it. If you've never experienced road rage or rage quitting, maybe you've encountered what I'll call today hallway rage. I just made that up, obviously. Hallway rage would be like what happened when you're in school and you're walking in the hallway. You remember when you had classes in person, and that person, they bumped into you, and so you dropped your phone, and boom, there it went, or your papers flew everywhere, you just went off, or maybe you just went off in your mind. Hallway rage is real. In this series, we've been talking about our emotions, our moods, or the vibe inside. Seriously, guys, that's the best we can come up with. The vibe, seriously? That's awful. I have a reputation as a cool person, and that's just, I don't have a, yeah, you're probably right. Maybe you get angry when your parents are punishing you for something that they let your sibling off the hook with. So right away though, shout out to all my youngest siblings like me who grow up and never get in trouble because the oldest sibling always does. Thank you guys, you're great. Or maybe you get angry when you just can't seem to learn a new TikTok dance. I don't really get angry about that. I've been off TikTok for 5 months now, y'all. It's been amazing. Or maybe you get angry when you lose a huge game, right? You're in a championship or semifinal game and the ref makes a bad call and you're gut wrenched and you're angry, you're so frustrated. Or someone talks bad about you behind your back. Maybe your anger comes not from getting what you want, or maybe someone else getting something that they don't deserve. Whatever the reason, each of us have this kind of anger that happens, and it doesn't always look the same. Sometimes it means, for some of us, we're going to be yelling at someone. We lose our temper. And so that's how we maybe think of it. It's maybe more outwardly expressed. Some of us who yell, who scream, who are noticeably upset. I know one time I was growing up and my brother got me so mad. I was storming back to my room, fuming. I just turned and I wailed my fist on my mom's closet door, and one bloody knuckle and a little dent in the door later, I got in so much trouble. Some of us, sometimes when someone's mad at you, you know it because they're not saying a single word. And that's so much worse. It's terrifying. Those of us who experience that anger more inwardly are going to cut people off. They're going to write people off. They're going to be intentional, but they're going to be quiet about it. And here's what I think is so important for us to understand in this conversation. Anger isn't wrong. The mood, the feeling, the emotion of anger is not a bad thing, but it's when it starts to control us, or when it begins to become the boss of us, that it has the potential to do more harm than good. So I have a question for each and every one of you. It's about your anger. Do you control your anger, or does it control you? We're going to look at a passage in the book of James in the New Testament. James was the brother of Jesus, the actual on-earth brother of Jesus. And he was writing to a church in Jerusalem. You've probably heard of the city of Jerusalem. It still exists today over in the Middle East somewhere. In Israel, right? Israel? But James offers a principle that may sound a little too simple at first, but hang in there, because I know if you and I can learn to do this thing in our life, it can change everything. James starts by saying this: who is wise and understanding among you? Now, we hear the word wise a lot, but we may not really focus on what it means. Wise and wisdom is different than being smart. You can be born smart, but wisdom is earned. If you're wise, you take what you've experienced and you learn from it. You understand that life is connected, right? And that actions have consequences. James is asking us, how many of you get that? If you do get it, here's what I have to say. Who is wise among you, right? Let them show it by their good life, by deeds done in the humility that comes from wisdom. James is making this connection here. I think it's so important for us to understand. He's saying that wise people are humble. And what does humility look like? Humility is quoted famously as not thinking less about yourself, but thinking about yourself less. So you don't see yourself as the exception to the rule. You don't think the world revolves around you and your desires. You don't think that you deserve better treatment than everybody else. Humility is you don't see everyone else as a means to an end to get what you want. James is saying that wise and humble people don't do these things. So he continues by saying this, but if you harbor bitter envy and selfish ambition in your heart, do not boast about it or deny the truth. Harbor here basically meaning to let something stick around, like a boat is docked at a harbor, it sits there. So if you let that harbor, it's going to do some stuff to you that you don't think you should do. It's better to not deny it, but to call it out. Don't pretend to be fine. And then James ends it here by saying, for where you have envy and selfish ambition, or lack of humility, when you're harboring that, when you have those things together, there you find disorder and every evil practice. Let's say this differently. When pride or arrogance gets lodged inside of us, it comes out in our actions. Not exactly great news. It's like when you were in elementary school and your best friend did something so mean. They called you a butthead. They took your pencil and you ran to your teacher. You got so mad and you wrote them off, right? You said, they're not my friend anymore. Well, of course, the teacher would make them apologize and then you're best friends again. But the point is, when we harbor these feelings towards each other, it makes us do and say things that we normally wouldn't do. It makes us do things that we know we don't want to do. It makes us see people for who they are not, rather than for who they are. So we ask the question, James has asked this question, what causes fights and quarrels among you then? Don't they come from your desires that battle within you? In other words, are the fights and frustrations and anger that you and I currently are harboring, are they actually something that's wronged us? Or are we holding people up to these expectations and desires and these lofty experiences and outcomes that we would prefer rather than what's currently happening? Like your mom may drive you crazy. You say your mom drives you crazy. But does she really drive you crazy, or would you rather just be left alone? Or do you kind of just not want to do your homework? You're tired of her nagging about it. Or your younger brother may be just the most annoying kid on the planet. Most of us are. It's totally fine. But is that actually true for you, or would you rather just be doing your own thing with your own time? You had a long day of school, and now your brother wants to play, you don't want to play. That makes you angry because you're not getting what you think you deserve, right? As long as we think the problem with our anger is because of someone else, their behavior, their character, their mistakes, we'll never deal with the real problem of anger that's inside of us. We think the problem is people not doing things our way. But James is saying the problem is that we want to get our own way. But as long as we think the problem is outside of us, we'll never take care of what's inside of us. And I think that in some ways, what I'm saying doesn't sound very fair. Because sometimes our frustrations can be legitimate. Like when we get in trouble for something that someone else has done, but they didn't get in trouble for. But James isn't talking about what's fair and what isn't. He's saying that if you want to get to the root of your frustration and your anger, you need to be willing to humble yourself to admit that there might be a problem with you. The problem is when you don't get what you think you deserve. We have an opportunity here, friends, to change the script on our anger. When other people aren't acting like we think they should, or we aren't getting what we think we deserve, we have a chance to say, instead of saying they're being selfish, she's being annoying, they're being rude, we get a chance to say, let me stop for a second and think, am I not getting what I think I deserve? Am I not getting what I want in this situation? Or am I just really angry? Just the other day, I'm trying to feed my daughter some breakfast. I cook her some eggs. We sit down at the table, and she's not eating. And I want to get on with the day. I want to do stuff. I've got stuff to write, videos to watch, people to FaceTime, all the normal stuff you guys want to do. The kid is just not eating. I'm getting so angry. Why am I angry? Because I'm not getting what I want. What I want is to get up and go. But I got to sit. She's got to eat. This is one of the core understandings about humility, is that it's at the very center of the character of God. And if our God was not humble, well, he would just be like this every other leader, except the powers to create and, knowing everything and knowing where we are at all times. Okay, so God sounds super creepy if he wasn't humble. But no, seriously, at first thought, I'm sure you might be wondering, how does this humility connect with our anger? But looking to ourselves first, checking our motives, our emotions, and really making sure we aren't part of the problem is being humble. Never thinking yourself above mistake or error is a huge part of a Christ-like character. It's considerate of others. It allows you the chance to talk clearly with someone about the situation. James is making a very important point, that as long as you think the problem is outside of you, that's someone else's fault, you are not being humble, and you are allowing evil to take place in your life. Yeah, evil. I said it. Because you can say that you didn't do anything wrong. You can avoid ownership and responsibility. You can look to others and say that they made me do it. It's their fault. They left me no choice. They made me say it. But James is saying, no, look at you. You said the thing. You did the mean thing. It was in you to say it and do it. We gotta check us first. Now, of course, there's some circumstances that should upset you, like when you're treated unfairly by people you trust. But imagine if in the middle of feeling your anger and frustration, you were able to say, part of the problem, not all the problem, not anywhere close to all the problem, but part of the problem is me. I'm not getting what I want. Just being willing to say that helps to keep yourself from being controlled by anger. Owning what you can own in the problem keeps your anger from driving you and owning you. And no matter who you are, that is a good thing. So I want to ask my question again. What's your relationship with anger? Do you control it, or does it control you? If I were to go ask your coach, your family, brothers, step-parents, sisters, classmates, teammates, whoever, what would they say? Because if anger is controlling you in any of those relationships, then it's controlling you too much. And the only way to beat it, according to James, is with humility. And humility says, it's not my fault, but I'm going to own my part. And my part of it has to do with me not getting the what I want when I want to. So when you feel anger and frustration or whatever you want to call it, rising up, when you're in that disagreement with your parents, your coach, your teammates, whatever, ask yourself, what am I not getting that's causing this anger? Because even if you aren't the whole problem, humility means recognizing that you are part of the problem. And when you learn how to recognize that, the emotion of our anger begins to lessen its control over you. This humility is at the center of God's character. And as people who are learning to be like Christ, this needs to be inserted into our lives immediately. Paul says this in Philippians 2, that Jesus, who was in the very nature of being God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing, taking the very nature of a slave, being made in human likeness, and being found in human form. He humbled himself and became obedient to the point of death on a cross. Jesus, who was God, came and humbled himself to be with us. This is the nature of Jesus, someone who thought of himself less than others, even though he created them. Do you hear that? I mean, come on, Jesus was hanging on a cross and prayed to forgive his killers because he said they didn't know what they were doing. Jesus chose to let people say and do mean things to him all the time, but he set the example for his anger so we can see that example and be humble and be gentle, and we can allow patience and love to win above our anger. Now, Paul writes this further about humility in Philippians, saying, therefore, if any of you have encouragement from being united in Christ. Well, Paul's saying, hey, listen, Christ followers, church, you guys, middle schoolers, high schoolers, if you've experienced God, if you had a sharing in the Spirit of God, if you've received any tenderness, if you have any compassion, if you have any of that, then please complete my joy by being like-minded, having love for each other. Don't be selfish. Do nothing out of vain conceit or selfish ambition, but in humility regard others as better than you. Did you catch that? Paul writes in Romans that we should be outdoing one another and showing honor. Like there's this part of humility that sets people above us that is so good and right and healthy. He tells us to be like Christ, and then tells us what Christ is like, humble, when he had every reason not to be. Jesus surrendered his way when he could have easily fought for it. Following this example of Jesus is how we keep anger from controlling us. Because of Jesus, anger doesn't have to be the boss of you. And anger doesn't have to be the rule of thumb either. But love and peace and patience can win. I really believe following Jesus will make your life better. I really do, because if you follow Jesus, he's going to nudge you away from self-centeredness and arrogance and pride. He's going to move you towards love and humility of others. And as that happens, you will find that anger no longer has a place in your life that it did before. And a less powerful anger is a win for everybody. So as we're wrapping up, I want you to begin to think about imagining what will your life look like if you didn't have that anger controlling you. Listen, if that's you, if you're someone who is really struggling with your anger, it's controlling you. I mean, you're triggered every day. Everything triggers you. You wake up in the morning angry. You go to bed at night angry. You go throughout school angry. Your brothers, family, siblings, everyone's angry. Listen. Think about those moments where you just have the anger lifted. I don't know what it is. You feel the peace. You feel a weight that's lifted off your shoulders. You start to think more clearly. That can be your life. That's the life of Jesus that he wants for you. A life that's full of hope and love and respect. Yeah, sure, we're gonna get angry sometimes. We're not perfect. We're still gonna feel that anger at times, but he's going to nudge us towards humility and love. Start to think about your personal circumstances and what does it look like for you to choose wisdom and humility over anger.
Tell me a little bit more about your grandfather.
He was amazing. I loved him. He would always give us the biggest hugs when we came there, and he basically was this cool dude that rode motorcycles and was always happy. I remember this one time when he started getting sick, because he did have diabetes, and so he couldn't do a lot of things that we could do, but he still loved it. When he started getting sick and he was put in a wheelchair, he started showing us how he could do wheelies in wheelchairs, and we brought this gingerbread house for him, and he said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna break this apart and eat all the frosting off of it, and he ate all the frosting off the gingerbread house. And it was just amazing. We were really close with that side of the family, and after he had passed away, everything kind of stopped. As soon as we heard I was in school, I thought the world was over. There's nothing left. Like, what am I without him? He made us, because he was just the one who brought everyone together, everyone happy around him. And then when he left, it was just silent, and it just felt like nothing else could make me happy. We learned that he had many, many, many problems. He was addicted to drugs, and so was everyone else that was living in that house. My emotions were obviously, I was sad, and I was also angry at my family. And to cope with those things, I started eating a lot of food. And I started gaining weight. And when I would go to school, I would get bullied for it. And I started taking things and hurting myself. I was so angry at myself, like, why are you doing this to yourself? But I was also so sad that my anger was like my way to escape from the sadness. I would get more angry and more angrier that I would keep doing it. And then I would get more angry because I'm doing it to myself. And then if my siblings talked to me, or if my mom told me to do something, I would get so angry that everyone was afraid of me, and I was afraid of myself. It makes me sad to know that I've done these things and that like my anger can do that to me, and I can let my anger take control. Our friends, good friends, they took us to the candlelit service at Mountain in Edgewood. I could connect with the songs, and I was like, wow, he's really up there. Like, this is God literally in the room with us, and it was just amazing. We connected with God again, and it brought so much joy into our lives that ever since that day we said we were going to go to church. It took a few times after that, more candlelit services, but in 2018 we did the candlelit service, and ever since then we've been a part of MCC. We connected ourselves more we help the children. I work with the toddlers. I started the students group Echo, and I've done fall retreat. That was a big eye-opener for me too. And I kind of learned that, yeah, I have a purpose I have a purpose to live. There's things that make me me, and things that can make me happy because I'm here.
Cute. Oh.
So precious.